Okay, so we're going to look at exponent properties, specifically power of a product and power of a quotient. So let's look at them. So power of a product says this. If I have two things being raised to a power, I can simplify this by taking each factor. So the pieces that make up a product are called factors. And so this is the same thing as writing each factor as a power to n. So this would be factor a to the nth times factor b to the nth. And this doesn't matter how many factors are in the product, I can do this. So the important thing to note is we a lot of the times use this property to go from here to here, but we can also go backwards. Equality means that these are the same exact statement, so I should be able to go back and forth easily when necessary and use this property. The quotient, power quotient is the same thing. So instead of a product or multiplication problem, I have a division problem. And so I have a fraction or a division or a quotient to a power. So this is very similar to the power product. So I take the numerator and denominator and I raise them to this outside power the same. So this would be the same thing as the numerator raised to the nth power over the denominator raised to the nth power. And similar to before, it's an equality, so I can go back and forth. So let's do a couple examples of each of these. So let's try this one. Let's do this in red. Okay, so let's go 4x cubed y to the fifth squared. Okay, so I want to simplify this. There's a couple rules about simplifying. So simplify exponential expressions. I have a little checklist. So my first thing is no negative or fractional powers. And so we'll talk about fractional powers and negatives later. Next thing, one of each variable left over. And then the last thing is simplify constants. So again, a constant is something without a variable. So over here, so what I have is I have this expression being squared. But this expression is a product of three things. And so using this property, I'm going to raise each factor to the second power. So I'm going to take 4 and square it times x cubed squared times y to the fifth squared. Okay. Now this leads us to another property. So we're going to do this in black. So here I have a power to a power. So I'll do that here. So anytime you have something with an exponent raised to an outer exponent, to make it one exponent, you multiply the inside power by the outside power. So in this case, I'm going to get, 4 squared, we'll make that 16. So x cubed squared, so 3 times 2 is 6. So I get x to the 6th. Think about it. X cubed squared is x cubed times x cubed. Well, I have 3 x's and 3 x's, well that makes 6 x's. And this is y to the fifth squared, so 5 times 2 is 10. So look, no negative or positive powers, check. One of each variable, so I have 1 x and 1 y, check. And the 16, I can't simplify that further. So there's that. Okay, let's do the other one. Let's try another problem. So let's do the division one. So let's go 25 x cubed y to the negative 5. Ooh. Actually, let's erase that. I want to make it look like this property. So give me a second. So let's do this instead. So let's go 5x cubed over 10y squared squared. Okay, so for this, the numerator is 5x squared. The denominator is 5x cubed. The denominator is 10y squared. So according to this property, I'm going to square the numerator and square the denominator. So this is going to be 5x cubed squared over 10y squared squared. So that's this property in action. But look, now I have a product being raised to a power. So I actually use this property over here. So let's do that down here. So 5x cubed squared. So 5 squared is 25. So x cubed squared. So I use this property here. So 3 times 2 is 6. So I get x to the 6. That's my numerator. Now my bottom, my denominator is 10y squared. So 10 squared is 100. Y squared, well, 2 times 2 is 4. So let's look. No negative or fractional powers, check. One of each variable, 1x, 1y, check. Simplify constants. Well, look, I got 25 and 10. Well, can I simplify that? So think about this. Get rid of these for a second. Think about this as 25 over 100. Well, 25 and 100 have a common factor of 25. So 25 goes into 25 once. 25 goes into 100 4 times. And so we really don't write a 1 up here. So what I get is I get 1x to the 6, which is just x to the 6. In the bottom I get 4y to the 4th. And so there is my, there's my simplified result.